Great movie, guys. You gotta see it. It's called The Endless Trench. It dates back to the time place in the movie. It's the Spanish Civil War. If you're not familiar with the Spanish War in Spain, it was when you had the Nationalist Function Party and the Second Spanish Republican Party, and they were colliding with each other for the regime for Spain. Uh, in this movie, it takes place in this town where the Nationalist Party was in that town, and they're rounding up all the guys, all the men that were from the Republican Party, as well as women, and they were killing them. Well, the movie starts off with the husband being woken up at night, told to run to get away, and he's trying to run away, and he goes running around, he gets caught, gets put into a truck, and during the transport of the truck as before they're leaving the town, he makes a run for it. He gets off the truck and he's running through the town, and they're shooting at him, and he ends up finding a place to hide in a well where there's four other guys in that well with him, and they come up and they think they're safe, and then they find them in there. But this guy, the actor, he ends up hiding in the well. There was like a little spot to hide where you can't see. It was like rocks, and they started shooting at the ones that they can see, and they killed all the men that were in that well with him. He ends up surviving, but he gets shot in the leg. And he waits a while for them to leave. He climbs out of that well, makes it back home, and he's like telling his wife, we gotta leave, we have to leave, and she's like, you can't leave in that condition because you're getting shot. Well, guys, it's a great movie. You have to see this because it goes further from here. It goes really deep, and it's gonna be very interesting because when you see this, the way he goes through, he finds a little space underneath the cupboard in his kitchen, and like they're looking for him. The cops are in there, the military's in there looking for him, the soldiers, and his neighbor is from the National Function, and his neighbor's out to get him. Like he knows that he's there, but they can't find him. So they tell his wife that she can't have her curtains up there. They take off her curtains. They tell her she has to have her door open to her house all the time. So they're very strict back then in those days with that whole Civil War. Well, the husband, he makes a hole in that wall, and that's where he ends up staying. And his father comes over. His father's like, you can't do this. You can't be living like this. So his father is like, I'm gonna help you. So he ends up taking him to his father's house, to his house, and the father ends up passing away, and the man builds a hole in the wall, and he ends up staying there, hiding for 30 years. And it's very interesting because you see the beginning of the relationship with the wife, and their love is the one that keeps them happy and safe and resilient during this whole war. They're hoping that the Civil War is over with. They're hoping that the new regime takes over and he can get out of the hole. Well, as time passes by, and the wife is starting to get fed up with him living in that hole. He only comes out once in a while to walk around the house, but he won't go outside the house. So I'm gonna fast forward a little bit because there's a point in the movie. I don't want to ruin it for you. I want you to watch this film. She ends up getting pregnant, and they have a baby, and they have to tell everybody that the baby is from her sister. And it's very interesting because they teach this baby to call them, Tia, which is like aunt. Their aunt, that's his aunt. And the father is like, he's thinking because I don't want to, is this my son? Because there's something that happens in the movie that I want you to see because I don't want to ruin it for you because it's a great movie. He starts to have doubts about that being his son, and he starts to go kind of crazy. He's isolated in that hole, this hole becomes his home, pretty much. And he has a hard time dealing with that. The wife does, and the son. The son gets older, and you see the progression of time from 40s all the way to the 1960s when this happened, you know. And the son is telling his father, "You're a coward. You're hiding in there. You know, you should be out here. There's no one even looking for you no more. Time has passed. Everybody in the neighborhood knows that you live here, that you're still here. You live in a hole." And the father, he becomes agoraphobic, and the condition gets worse because he doesn't want to leave that little space. He's afraid that he's gonna die if he does. And then the wife is like telling him, "I'm gonna leave you." You know, they were newlyweds when this happened. When this whole thing happened, they were newlyweds, so they never got to go to their honeymoon. And she wants to see the ocean. That's where they were gonna go for their honeymoon, to the ocean. They never made it because of this whole thing. And she tells him, "There's a bus that leaves at 11 o'clock and tomorrow morning. I'm gonna be on that bus. I'm gonna go to Marbella, which is a beach town in Spain. Very beautiful. I've never been there, but I heard about it." Well, the father is like, "You can't leave. What happened? Whatever something happens to me, and somebody breaks in." And you know, he ends up having a hard time processing leaving that space, opening the door, walking out, taking the front steps. Remember, he hasn't been out those steps since 1940, 39, 41, 40. So like 30 years passed by. And it wasn't until, you know, they started reporting the news that they're gonna pardon all the people that for war crimes during the whole transition of the Spanish War and all that. So everybody's forgiven, but he still can't process that. Great, you know. So guys, check this film out. It's called The Last Trench. You're gonna like it. It's a Spanish movie, so you'll have to see it in the subtitles. But again, it's not gonna be a problem for you. You'll understand it. You'll like the film. My opinion, it was really good written. Director, I know he won 2 awards in Spain for this film, and it was one of the international films for the Academy Awards this year. So it's a good film. Give it a shot. Thank you.